Joelinton devours this one. Like Dracula into a plate of liver. He attacks this, but look at the build-up from the back. Just as I said, electric Chukwueze, the Nigerian international, comes in.
The Italians are the best at it. They'll trip you up, take a yellow card, they'll stop the run of play, they'll stand on the ball, they'll have a dive. They are the expert.
Fortunately for us, it wasn't to be today. I thought there were some really good bits in our performance. I thought we were dominant at times. We probably needed the second goal. Didn't defend the 2 goals well enough.
The Champions League group of death. Newcastle versus Milan tonight for a place beyond Christmas in some sort of European competition. One eye will be kept on Dortmund versus PSG, but Eddie Howe and his lads will want to progress in the Champions League rather than the Europa League. We'll join Lee on his way into St James's Park to see how it unfolds.
Thank you for that lovely intro. We are here at St James's Park. Let's bring up the league table. This is where currently stands. Newcastle 3rd, Milan 4th. There's 3 stipulations for Newcastle United. We lose, we go out of Europe completely. We draw, we go into the Europa League. And if we win, and Paris don't win their game, Newcastle will march on to the last 16 of the Champions League. Who would have thought just 2 years ago where we were battling relegation? Now look at us. We are on the brink of having Europe after Christmas. We've got the match vlog to come. And we've also got the last word to come when I meet the lads later. Team news is out, and the biggest change is that man on screen. Callum Wilson starts. Isak is on the bench. The same with Sean Langstaff. Dan Burn is back, everybody. Big Dan Burn. Dubravka makes it as well. Newcastle's bench is getting better game by game at the moment, and it's great to see. On the other side, Milan have Rafael Leao back, and he will start tonight. He is clearly going to be the threat for the opposition. Just in there, that wall there is where the press conference will happen post-match. NFTV just film up here on the left-hand side. This is where we do our post-match interviews around this area every game. Here's the Champions League ticket turnstile, just there, literally 52, 53 on the corner of the Gallagher. Drums are playing down there in the background. It's starting to get really, really busy now. Shea Given down there in front of the Gallagher. He's doing work for TNT Sport. True fact, he was on my flight coming back from Paris with his son. So Milan are on the pitch already. We're just waiting for the Newcastle squad to come out. But we're talking about it, the home fixture. Got to keep an eye on their left side with Hernandez and Leao. That's going to be a threat tonight, so keep an eye out on those two. Joined by a familiar face here on NFTV. Johnny, you told me just off camera, you're not nervous, are you?
I'm not. Like I say, this is just a journey, isn't it? It's so exciting. You've got to remember this time last year we were playing a cup game against Crystal Palace and just sneaking through on penalties. Now we're playing the 7th time champions of the Champions League. No nerves. Wherever we end up, we end up. But I have to be honest, he who laughs the loudest, and that's how I'm feeling with PSG, because they were going mental, weren't they, up in Paris with that penalty decision. Sometimes it can haunt them, and I hope it haunts them tonight.
We'll see Johnny later on the last words. Just keep watching, everyone. Thanks for that, Johnny. Right, let's take a look more in depth at the lineup that Newcastle have gone with. So there was some talk about Dubravka, wasn't there? Would he make it? And Karius is on the bench, so Dubravka's all right to play. Apart from that, it's effectively the same lineup except from Callum Wilson. There's a bit of freshness up top, and I feel that's probably the right decision. Isak's look a little bit tired, a little bit mentally drained, lacklustre, and I think Wilson will put himself about tonight, and I think that's the right decision. And look, it's great to see Dan Burn. Oh my God, we're getting players back, everybody. Dan Burn is on the bench, Sean Longstaff's on the bench, Alexander Isak's on the bench. We've got options which we haven't had for a long time, so we can freshen it up a little bit later when we need to, which is great. Just on the far side there, we've just seen Shea Given before. He's standing next to former Magpie Jermaine Jenas, Rio Ferdinand, and of course Laura Woods, who I also met in Paris as well. Well, they're like busters, everybody. They are like busters. Adam's here. How are you?
All right, lad.
And there's Johnny as well. I feel like there's a man. Chris, bloody hell! What's going on here?
Chris, go. Let's call.
Oh, you daft to it.
I'll be hanging around with your brother too much. NFTV.
4-0 Newcastle.
4-0.
4 fucking 0.
4-0. I'll say it, Adam. What do you reckon?
go 2-1. 2-1 Newcastle.
St James's Park absolutely levitating here. And of all the predictions coming into this wonderful group of death, everybody was dreaming about a showdown like this. The final game, the final showdown. Last chance saloon for both teams.
Pierre, he didn't miss by much, aiming for the top shelf.
One of the cornerstones of this Newcastle United team ever since he came, Kieran Trippier.
Point blank! It was Tomori to the rescue.
That's an unbelievable save from Tomori. This is a certain goal. It's fabulous football.
And St James's Park explodes!
Truly magisterial here. Joelinton sees players either side of him and says, I see you lads, I don't need you. Throw me the keys and I'm driving this one home. Beautiful football and the build-up here. The Geordies absolutely devouring it. Joelinton devours this one. Like Dracula to a plate of liver. He attacks this, but look at the build-up from the back.
To stay onside, and a swing and miss by Tomori, laid off, and Milan are on the board. It's Pulisic.
Christian pounces on this one. There was cries for offside, but the flag stayed down. Take a look at this. Musa holds, hesitates. The American connection, excellent here. Lovely little slip through pass. Is he onside? I think he's level. He looks onside to me. And then this ball pulled back. Whack. And then Giroud intentionally feigns Pulisic.
First touch is for Isak. Looking for his right. Isak! He didn't get it deep enough. Sweet.
He likes it here. Isak
against Calabria. Again looking for his right
Nicely.
foot. Gimenez from the edge of the area. Gimenez! Saved onto the bar by magic Magpies.
Fabulous save. We said he'd have to come up trumps here tonight. He did there. Brilliant attack from Newcastle.
Jovic driving goal bound, laying it off for Okafor. Here's Samuel Chukwueze! Off the bench and onto the score sheet. Milan's hero.
Just as I said, electric Chukwueze. The Nigerian international comes in, puts the dagger well and truly in Newcastle.
Tomori now. Rostonetti looking to seal the deal. It's 3 against 2. Jovic. Fikayo Tomori! And he's denied by the woodwork. Twice Milan have hit the post in this second half.
The reason why it's called St James's Park.
It'll be a wonderfully entertaining match.
Cracking game of football, of course. Shakespearean drama right to the end. Not a tale of two cities, a tale of two halves.
So full time at St James's Park when Newcastle United have lost 2-1 and finished bottom of Group F in the Champions League. What was labelled as a group of death was too much for Eddie Howe's side, but unfortunately the Magpies bow out of all European competition for this season. As fans start to leave the ground, we'll move on to the next section of The Last Word, where we'll join Lee and Johnny to dissect the game.
And we are here for the last words. I hope you've got some fantastic views of Newcastle United's final Champions League game this season, and who knows when it'll be the next game. This is the last word mainly here for Newcastle United 1, AC Milan 2. Lee, a lot of people thought it was going to be Borussia Dortmund and Paris Saint-Germain, Borussia Dortmund and Newcastle United. Before I go into the team and everything like that, just an initial reaction. For me, it's pride, but what if?
It is, and look, we're not. Look at Manchester United; they went out disgracefully. We haven't. The negatives are that it doesn't help the Premier League's coefficiency, because it means fifth place might not get Champions League spot, which Newcastle might finish. Look, we've still got a lot to play for. We've still got the Premier League to get up the table. We've got the Carabao Cup. We've got a great derby on the horizon as well. We've got to improve our away form as well. But I can't say, like, I'm not going to throw my toys around and out my pram and say disgraceful this, but no, it wasn't. It's just Milan were just a little bit clever, which I'm sure we'll talk about soon. Yeah,
let's go straight into the team. For me, it was a brave decision starting Wilson over Isak when Wilson hasn't played a lot of minutes. I know he came on against Tottenham and got the assist for Joelinton's goal.
Do you not think that's the right decision though tonight? Because if you look at Isak's run of form, has he been energetic?
Not necessarily energetic, but he doesn't seem to do a lot but score goals. He should have scored against Tottenham, and he had chances against Everton. But what I would say is that I think it was a brave decision from Eddie Howe, because for me, I'm looking at more, should Callum Wilson, who hasn't played a lot of minutes, start this game? And look, I don't think he was wrong in doing that. I think there was reasons for either or, but that was the big decision in terms of what he was going with. The rest of the team almost picked itself, apart from the goalkeeper Dubravka, come under a lot of pressure after his performances against Everton and Tottenham. He had a bit of a stomach bug as well. Did you think Karras was going to start, or do you still believe that Eddie Howe, if Martin Dubravka is fit, starts games for Newcastle?
There was rumours going around, wasn't there? Is he going to be fit enough to play? Because we all thought Karras might play, which would have been ironic considering his family situation. But we'll have to wait on that, whether it's serious or not, if he's playing through the pain barrier, if the medical team are giving Eddie Howe the go-ahead, because it's the medical team that make the decision really nowadays. It's not the manager. So, do you buy a goalkeeper? Do you not? That's a debate for the comments as well for the rest of the season. Do you go and get Ramsdale on loan? Do you go and get De Gea for the rest of the season, or whatever? I don't know. But great to see Dan Burn back. It's options off the bench. He's not going to win us the games, no, but it gives us options across the back line. Trippier's suspended next, so I'd imagine Livermore will move across now, and Dan Burn will probably start against his former side. But midfield didn't surprise me. Longstaff not starting, that didn't surprise me. I thought Miley deserved his chance, and I think it's more down to fitness, and I'm not surprised Wilson started.
No, not surprised. I just think it's an interesting one, because a lot of people were thinking, who's our best striker, but is he in form? Debate, let us know what you would have done in the comments if you were Eddie Howe today. How did the game start? Well, it started like 100 miles an hour. Both teams were really going for it. AC Milan had the first real opportunity. It was a shot from the number 10. I think I'm not the best with knowledge with Italian football. I'm not going to lie. Tell me in the comments,
Steve.
Yeah, we really need to. Like I say, I'm not going to say I'm an expert in Italian football, but curling shot from the left-hand side, right-footed, just past Dubravka's post.
Is Pulisic not number 10?
No, I think he's number 11.
Oh, is he?
But I thought Pulisic was, like I say, I didn't see much of him, but I feel like, did he score the first goal? Like, I don't know. I didn't really hear the tannoy for the goal itself, but we'll come on to that a little bit later on. But Newcastle, in terms of chances that they had, Kieran Trippier had a free kick just over the crossbar. Was always kind of dipping a little bit too high, but the goal came midway through the first half through Joelinton. I thought he was a man-possessed first half in particular, and it was great football. Lovely little pass from Livramento into the path of Gordon, who kind of split the midfield and the defence of AC Milan a little bit. Drove forward right through the heart of AC Milan's defence, plays a lovely ball to Miley on the edge of the box, who lays it back on his first touch into the path of Joelinton. One little touch to get out of his feet, and then buries it. An absolute bullet of a finish, and Newcastle deservedly at that point, Lee, were 1-0 up.
I would say with the run of play, we deserved it. I didn't think Dubravka was tested, to be honest with you, that much in that first half. Great finish, great hit. 1-0 up, you're thinking, right, it's a perfect night. You know, the crowd are going to start bouncing. Results are going our way. You're thinking, right, okay, get the lads in half time now, and come out second half a different team and maybe just try. Obviously, we'll talk about it, but at that very moment, it was feeling good, because Newcastle, on the whole night, we were sitting in second place at one stage, we were in third place at one stage, we were in fourth place at one stage, and it's how tight the group is, the group of death. But at that moment, brilliant, you're going through the next round of the Champions League at that minute.
I should mention, there's just come in my head, Kieran Trippier before this is goal. Kieran Trippier played a pass right into the box into through to Joelinton. Keeper comes out, it looks like it's going in the back of the net. Almiron and the defender are both there, but the defender manages to clear it. I've had a couple of text messages saying it's a fantastic tackle from the defender. I've had another couple of people saying if Miggy used his right foot, he taps it over the line. It's an interesting one.
We've said that a few times.
Yeah, we have said that a few times, but they were the main chances for Newcastle. Half time, it was 0-0 in Germany, and at the minute Newcastle was second in the group, and thinking, last 16 of the Champions League. Yes, there's more work to do in the second half, but that's where we are right now. Second half, and Wilson had a shot first minute of the second half, which is straight in the keeper's hands. But at 1-0, it's about game management, and I think obviously the crowd had heard that Paris Saint-Germain had gone 1-0 down, hasn't it?
I was about to ask you because there was a bit to my right, and the crowd all of a sudden the stadium started singing. I was like, something's happening in the game. I can't get signal. People around us can't get signal. Something's happened to the other game. Clearly, it's going in our way. But you're all right. It's down to that small stuff because Italians are the best at it.
Is it not difficult though? Because at that moment in time, Lee, Newcastle were 1-0 up, Dortmund were 1-0 up. Perfect. That is literally perfect in terms of how Newcastle United wanted it. And because at that point you think, well, can we just sit back a little bit? But I think that was probably the inexperience in us in the Champions League. I don't know how you saw it.
It is. The Italians are the best at it. They'll trip you up, take you out of card. They'll stop the run of play. They'll stand on the ball. They'll have a dive. They are the expert at slowing the game down. If you watch Serie A for the last 20, 30 years, it's one of the slowest leagues in the league because the Italians are so good at it. Look at the Italian national side. How wide do they get so far? And most of the time, competitions, they beat England on penalties. Chiellini chucking down Saka. It's game management. The actual experts at it. And as soon as they get the equaliser, their heads are up, the tails are wagging, they can sense something.
It was, and at that point you're thinking, right, can Newcastle just manage this period when Milan were kind of getting into the game, and unfortunately couldn't. It was a little bit pinball for their equaliser, it really was, and Newcastle had a couple of chances to kind of clear the ball a little bit, but it falls into a path with an AC Milan player who was about 6-7 yards out, and Dubravka's coming out, a bit different to what Onana didn't do yesterday for Manchester United, but slots it 1-1. It looked offside, I have to be honest. I thought it was offside, but there was a quick VAR check. It wasn't a 4-minute VAR check. It was just, is it offside, is it onside, with the semi-automated offsides, and it wasn't, it was onside. And at that point it was 1-1, and then we heard that Paris Saint-Germain had equalised in Germany. It was 1-1 there. Paris Saint-Germain then made it 2-1, disallowed, then made it 2-1 again, disallowed again. So that's how interesting it's been in Germany and how interesting it's been in Newcastle. At 1-1, there's a moment from Bruno Guimaraes, shot on the edge of the box, curling, looks in all the way, keeper gets it the tiniest of touches onto the crossbar, a little bit like the Dortmund chance where towards the end where the deflection takes onto the crossbar. This one the goalkeeper just makes an absolutely world-class save, and are those little small differences?
That's why you pay daft prices now for goalkeepers, because he's one of the best. Mike Mygon, he's came from nowhere, then all of a sudden the last 5 years he's just blossomed into this world-class goalkeeper. So it's an unbelievable world-class save. It's just, he just flings himself. It's very, and he was there tonight, Shea Given-esque. Yeah. You think it's going in, and he's just palmed his left hand out, and he's just put it on the crossbar. And it's an unbelievable save, man.
It is an unbelievable save, and again, that's what you pay the big money for. But for Newcastle, it was. I think Eddie Howe, probably from his managerial point of view, was saying, why are we doing pinball on the 65th minute, on the 70th minute? So we've still got 20 minutes left to manage the game, which we've mentioned before. But Isak had a chance from the left-hand side, just inside the box, his right foot.
Him playing on the left?
I was a bit surprised. I think from...
When you've seen Isak standing at the side, do you think it's Wilson, didn't you?
A little bit. I kind of almost thought it wouldn't surprise me if he took off a Miley and made it 2 and then put a 3 and a 1. But again, there's options there.
Gordon hasn't been on form the last few games as well.
I think I don't like saying, again, I agree with Alan Shearer, I don't like using the word tired, but Anthony Gordon has played pretty much every single game for Newcastle.
And he didn't have a Europe off, the summer off. He won the Euros, didn't he?
Exactly. So, again, maybe it was the right decision.
He won player of the tournament, for England.
No, he did win the Euros.
He did.
maybe it's not again, it's so difficult because Wilson is a natural goal scorer. Do you want him on the end of a half a chance? Probably. Like it was tough. I think Eddie Howe had to maybe judge it going, right, who's more likely to get me a goal, and I think Wilson over Gordon was probably the right decision, but I can understand the argument for Gordon to stay on the game, I have to be honest. But
I didn't think Gordon was in the game.
He had little moments, little flashes. Did he do more than Almiron today?
I think Almiron was actually working back really. The amount of times he was nicking the ball back, that's just something I've not seen in his game for quite a while. So,
but do we not need him more going forward?
I know, going forward, because you want, in an ideal scenario for me, when Harvey Barnes is back, that's competition for Miggy for me. Because Jacob Murphy's not going to be back for another 6-7 weeks.
Well, I don't know. He seems to be he hasn't got a cast on, has he? So it just hasn't healed enough because he seems to be keeping himself fit.
Yeah, I just hope with Harvey Barnes, it's more options. Yeah. Look, we've got it from the bench date. The benches are getting stronger and stronger now, and so we'll have to see what the team they put out on Saturday. But the substitutions I get because of freshness. We haven't had it for a long time, and you're all right. It's game management because, as I say, Milan sense blood. You know, it's basically it's a game of Russian roulette, red or black. Do you stick or twist?
It's ironic that they both have red and black in the home kit.
Roll the dice, and then see what happens. And Newcastle did with Fabian Schär going forward.
They did. The thing is that I think both teams wanted to have that lead to then sit back, and as soon as Milan did get the goal, they did sit back, and it was almost Aston Villa like having almost have your 4 centre halves, and then the 2 wingers just come in and make it difficult.
Just before, was it Rafael Leao was in on goal, or was that after the goal?
Yeah, I was literally just about to mention that Leao had that moment. It was kind of like, and then hits the post.
I thought that's it. That's done.
Hit the post, and Newcastle was still in it, but with just over 5 minutes to go, it was the case: was it going to be red or was it going to be black? And unfortunately, Milan's number came up.
Playing red and black, but not tonight. They played in some sort of energy drink colour tonight.
Yeah, but it was Milan that got the goal on the counter attack, 3 against 2, and they played it well, and then the forward.
People are going to point. It's in that situation. Do you hold and just take Europa League, or do you go for it because you see the light of Champions League?
I think you have to go for it.
And you know, people are going to be. I haven't seen on Twitter. I haven't been on. Obviously, this video will be edited late in the early hours, but I'll probably see it. And there'll be people having a go at Fabian Schär, and he's been absolutely sensational.
I don't think he deserves that. I think, look, I don't blame what Newcastle United did. I don't blame what the players did. I don't think that was personally Eddie Howe's message to the players. I think the players just took it upon themselves to kind of go, we need to do this because that's how they're doing it in terms of AC Milan. But look, the second goal was a fantastic finish inside the box. No chance for Martin Dubravka. Again, he's conceded more goals. The goals aren't his fault. They're not his fault tonight. But again, it's more goals and there's more questions about the goalkeeper and the situation, which is going to be mentioned towards Eddie Howe. But Newcastle huffed and puffed. They had a few long balls, a couple of headers where just didn't really, none of the flick-ons really worked, and at the end it was Milan just playing out time. They actually hit the post right at the very end.
Yeah, when Dubravka came up.
Yeah, on the counter-attack again. They missed an open net, didn't Livermore?
Yeah, that as well, and they hit the post. We had to go for it, because you may as well, if you're going to get beat, you may as well get beat 3-1. You may as well go for it, and we just didn't have a proper chance just to
go. That was the moment that we could have gone through. But it ended Newcastle United 1, AC Milan 2. It ended Borussia Dortmund 1, Paris Saint-Germain 1. Borussia Dortmund were always going to be through, and they're finishing top of the group. It's AC Milan. Who would have thought? AC Milan, second in the group. Just come out of nowhere. Paris Saint-Germain third, Newcastle United fourth, and out of Europe. I'm sure he'd be very proud of the team's performance throughout the whole of the Champions League, and they said they were going to give it a go in this press conference yesterday. But this is Eddie Howe's thoughts after Newcastle had been knocked out of the Champions League.
To end, it was like, you attack, we attack. Both teams, you could see, were desperate to win, and we might very much embrace that. We wanted to win the game, and we were trying to head for the Champions League. So we had to be brave. They had to be brave. It made for a very good game. Probably not our best technical performance, and I think that's probably the disappointing thing on the night. But we did create chances, and we're absolutely devastated not to go through. Old stuff. We had the opportunity tonight to do what we needed to do, and we didn't take it. But it's not through a lack of effort. I mean, as we've said many times, we've got a very stretched squad. Those players are going again and again, and I couldn't be prouder of what they've given me physically, mentally. And I do think we've left everything on the pitch. I don't think we can have any regrets. But of course, we'll learn from it and try and absorb all the things that we need to take into our Premier League form. The value of the squad, first and foremost. And that's what's exposed us, really. The fact that we haven't had the ability to utilise the squad that we created. And that's been a big frustration for us. We feel we've almost gone into games with not one hand tied behind our back, but to a degree very, very limited on what we can do. And that hasn't helped us.
Immense pride in the performance, but just ran out a little bit of quality in the end, Lee, and it's that quality. If we had our full strength squad with only maybe one or two little injuries or little suspensions, you can kind of go, that will give we can give the likes of your Paris Saint-Germain, your Borussia Dortmund and the AC Milans on this occasion a proper game. When you look at the Champions League journey, if you like, how do you see it?
I wanted this group. I wanted the group of death for the fan experience. We had a mint time in Germany. Paris was quite brief. Milan was fairly brief for me as well, but I still enjoyed my time going out there, and it's for the fans. It was brilliant, and it would have been nice to carry that on, because we would have got someone like a Bayern Munich or Real Madrid or a Barca or something like that for the next adventure. But that's sadly not the case. But you know, there's going to be a lot of Newcastle fans would have took the Europa League. I said to you before the game, I know with Joe we could get somewhere like a Lithuanian team or a Polish team, but at least it saves us money in the pocket, because it's killing me these away trips. But
can I ask, have Newcastle United underachieved by not continuing it in some sort of European competition, or was this expected in terms before a ball was kicked, in terms of Newcastle United finishing fourth in the group?
Let me flip that question around. If Newcastle were in Manchester United's group, would we be disappointed finishing last?
Just a bit.
Because I would be.
If I was if we were in Manchester United's group, I know it's all if, buts and maybes. I would
go through, but you expect Newcastle to finish second
or third, maybe Galatasaray on a day. But I think Newcastle could beat Galatasaray over two games, or get at least 4 points. But I take your point. But do you think we've underachieved?
No, because of the injuries. You've got to look at that. No, I don't think so. Did we have any real expectations? Maybe some fans might, but I went along for the ride and the experience of all that. We are out. Yes, there'll be some people jumping around social media, and all that, but we get that. But the season's not over. It's not like, oh my God, we've got nothing to play for. We've got a Carabao Cup coming up with Chelsea. The draws haven't been kind in Newcastle, no. But we've had a glamour tie effectively every round. We get through to that, you know, there's not many big teams left. We're flying high still at the Premier League, despite all them injuries. We're in and around the European places. So we can now... The strain isn't on us as much. There's not a game every 3 days. I know injuries are now coming back, which I guess is a bit ironic. But then we've got the big derby as well. We've got to look forward to. We've got the FA Cup. You know, if we draw Sunderland at theirs, they're getting back here. We could have two. Obviously, we didn't want to lose that. What's a massive game that. So we've got a lot to play for the rest of the season.
Yeah, we certainly do, and I think we have to remember Newcastle United before. When the international break finished, we're going to play 10 games by the time they play Nottingham Forest.
Also as well, when you have the owners look at the Champions League campaign, they want more of this.
Yeah, I think they do. I think it's going to get. It's like he's mentioned before, the UEFA coefficient. It's going to be more difficult. I think you've still got to think it's going to be 4 teams at this moment in time. It could be 5, but at the minute you've got to think it's 4. And are Newcastle United at the minute the best 4 teams in the Premier League? At the minute you'd say no on form, but. Who can, Newcastle United, they're getting the injuries back, the likes of Botman, Barnes, Willock.
The thing
they're
is,
the big ones.
You want European, because the owners look at this. If it's not the Champions League, take the Conference League. Look at West Ham. I know you might get some obscure places, but you've got to have a squad depth in that. And obviously, I think we have been so unlucky with injuries, because people say, Newcastle don't have the squad depth. Maybe not for the Champions League, but Europa League or a Europa Conference League. I mean, you can play a second side and you'll go through. You know what I mean?
Yeah, certainly. Last couple of things before we end. It's Fulham on Saturday, and I know that's going to be such a big drop. Fulham's not AC Milan in terms of quality,
right,
but
you say that, but look at their last 2 results.
Exactly, that's what I was just about to mention. But it's such a big game, and I think it's kind of almost got the feel of a bit of a banana slip because of the fact that we're on a bit of a downer. Newcastle put so much effort in, and it's just over. Well, it's about 60 hours maybe until Newcastle's next game, which is obviously not long. I think maybe about 64, 65 hours off the top of my head, but still. That's not a long time to get everything right. I don't think they're going to do a lot tomorrow, obviously, and then you've got one sort of half training session on Friday before Fulham come to town. It is a winnable game, but what is the priority now for Newcastle United? Because
you've got to stop the rot.
Yeah, you've mentioned the Carabao Cup. We've got the FA Cup, which is a chance now to kind of take that more seriously because we haven't got European competition, and then obviously the Premier League's the bread and butter. But what do Newcastle have to do now? We've
got to stop the rot. We've lost 3 in a row. We can't make that 4. Because the last thing we want as fans, is people pointing the finger at Eddie Howe and people like that, because that will naturally happen if Newcastle don't start winning games, and then you'll have people like the Talk Sport will debate Eddie Howe and what have you, and we don't want that because he's done an unbelievable job. Me personally, what I would do for Saturday, the 3 lads that came on, they start for me, freshen it up. You have to anyways with Trippier being out as well. Do you give Lewis Hall a run out? Just freshen it up. What else can you do really? Because I don't think you'll change the system. We'll do the high press. And now the lads are going to be knackered mentally. I don't think physically. I agree with Alan Shearer. Physically, because they're fit as a fiddle. But mentally, when you're travelling and you're having to stop, and you know you're hardly seeing your family, especially if you've got back-to-back away games like we did last week. But I would change it up, mate. I'll just freshen it up, and you know you've got them to come off the bench. We've got options because we haven't had it. What would you do?
For me, the Carabao Cup's such a big game, and
Would you take that more priority than Fulham?
Under the circumstances, yes. And I'll tell you why, because I know we haven't had a good draw, but if you avoid Liverpool, they beat West Ham, it's Port Vale, Middlesbrough, Everton or Fulham to get to Wembley. Newcastle United are going to be favourites in that, regardless of who they face, and if it's one of those 4 teams, if we can get through Chelsea. And Chelsea aren't a guarantee win, of course.
You might expect Karius to start that Chelsea game, potentially. You never know.
Who knows? To summarise in one word, what has this Champions League journey been like for Newcastle United?
I need 2. An experience. That's what I'll describe, and an experience. So we've had some great times out, especially Germany. That's probably my highlight. Say Newcastle, you know, we've talked about it for years. You know, the tantrums outside certain stadiums, the frustrations away at certain clubs, where we're getting spanked by Oxford United away 3-0, and getting put out by even Cambridge last season. And you know, it's having the opportunity to cover Champions League games with the channel, which we never thought we would. So I am going to make a little mini documentary on this as well. So just the experience of fans and that, just to highlight that you should be proud of where we've come. Yes, it's disappointing that we're out of Europe, but we're talking about, I'll say that again, we're talking about going out the Champions League. And I'll say it again, we're talking about going out the Champions League, Johnny.
Yeah, and that
just think what I've just said again.
And we were probably about 2 years ahead of where we were going, where we should have been.
100%.
So maybe it's disappointing tonight in terms of the overall grand scheme of things, but it's immense pride. You have to be, and you know the vast majority of fans applauded the Newcastle United supporters off the pitch today, and that just tells you everything about
and again,
how good the supporters were.
Look at the tone, what we're talking about there, and the tone that Manchester United fans have got at the minute.
Exactly. Always proud to be a Newcastle United fan. Maybe a little bit more prouder tonight. It's finished at St James's Park. Newcastle United 1, AC Milan 2. Congratulations to AC Milan and Borussia Dortmund. They're the ones going to be in the last 16 draw on Monday morning for Newcastle. It's back to the day job. It's back to Premier League action against Fulham, where me and Lee, and who knows who will be there for that game. But yeah, get your opinions on this Champions League journey. Sum it up in one word. An experience, if you like, in terms of how Lee wanted 2 words. If you can sum it up in one word, we'll pin up the best word for this Champions League adventure, if you like. Like and subscribe to Newcastle Fans TV, and we'll see you all at Fulham at St James's Park. See you later.